Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Barlow. Thank you so much for joining me today as I present and talk about how the Transformational Leadership Framework from Leverage Leadership 2.0 by Desravines, Aquino, and Fenton directly connects to two critical areas of the Texas Principal Standards: Standard 1, Instructional Leadership, and Standard 4, School Culture. These two standards are foundational pillars of effective school leadership, and when aligned with the levers of outlined in leverage leadership, they create a dynamic blueprint for school transformation. Let's begin by taking a quick look at what the transformational leadership framework actually entails. In Chapter 1 of Leverage Leadership 2.0, the authors describe transformational leadership not as a lofty concept, but as something grounded in action. This framework identifies six key levers that have the most direct impact on student achievement. These levers are instructional leadership, data driven instruction, observation and feedback, professional development, student culture, and staff culture. These levers are not abstract ideals, they are actionable, measurable practices that effective school leaders consistently implement to drive results. According to Desravines and his co authors, what sets transformational leaders apart is their relentless focus on execution and their ability to create clarity around expectations for teaching, learning, and culture. Now, let's turn our attention to standard number 1, which deals with instructional leadership. This particular standard emphasizes that principals are responsible for ensuring that every student receives high quality instruction. It focuses on four main indicators, such as implementing rigorous, aligned curriculum and assessments, developing effective instructional practices among staff, monitoring data to inform instruction and intervention, and maximizing learning for every student, especially those traditionally underserved. So, how does this align with the transformational leadership model? It's very clear, actually. The first lever in the framework, which is instructional leadership, it centers around defining, modeling, and reinforcing excellent instruction. In practical terms, that means the principal is not just managing the school from the office, they are in classrooms daily, they are reviewing lesson plans, observing instruction, and providing targeted, timely feedback to teachers. The framework promotes what the authors call tight but loose leadership, tight on the vision and standards, but loose on how teachers creatively meet those standards. That philosophy directly supports Standard 1A, which is implementing rigorous and aligned curriculum. Both transformational leadership doesn't stop at observation alone. It deeply embraces data driven instruction, which corresponds directly to Standard 1C of the Texas Framework. Transformational leaders establish common interim assessments, led data meetings, and create a school culture where decisions are informed by evidence, not assumption. They don't just look at data, they use it to drive instruction and to allocate resources. For example, a transformational leader will work with their teachers to analyze recent assessment results, pinpoint misconceptions, and adapt instructional strategies accordingly. These are the exact leadership behaviors that move student learning from surface level engagement to deep mastery. Now, let's go a little deeper into Standard 1B, which calls on principals to help develop high quality instructional practices. In leverage leadership, this is where the observation and feedback lever comes into play. Effective leaders are in classrooms frequently, ideally every day, and they provide real-time, formative feedback that teachers can apply immediately. These observations are not just compliance checks, they are targeted learning moments. Leaders use them to coach teachers toward excellence, raising the bar for everyone in the building. This feedback process becomes part of a larger coaching cycle where teachers are supported and challenged to grow continuously. It is this exact level of investment in teacher development that leads to higher student achievement, which is ultimately the goal of Standard 1. And finally, when we talk about maximizing learning for all students, which is Standard 1D, we have to talk about equity. Transformational leaders are equity driven. They ensure that all students, regardless of background, language, or ability, have access to rigorous instruction and the interventions they need to succeed. This is not about equal resources, but equitable outcomes. It is about meeting students where they are and ensuring that every instructional decision is made with student growth in mind. Now, let's transition to Standard 4, which deals with school culture, which is all about building a shared vision of high expectations and fostering a culture where staff and students can thrive. According to the Texas framework, effective principals develop a shared vision of high achievement, set clear expectations for behavior and conduct, engage families and communities, promote physical, social, and emotional safety, and use a variety of discipline strategies to meet the needs of individual students. The Transformational Leadership Framework speaks to this through two critical levers: student culture and staff culture. Let's first start with the student culture. Transformational leaders proactively create a joyful, structured, and safe learning environment. They define what positive student culture looks like in their school and communicate those expectations consistently. They don't wait until problems arise to address behavior. Instead, they build systems that prevent issues, promote positive relationships, and celebrate student progress. This clearly supports Standard 4B, which expects leaders to establish and monitor expectations while providing social and emotional supports. But let's go a little bit deeper. In the book, Desravines notes that transformational leaders create systems where students feel seen, valued, and known. That connects directly to Standard 4D, which focuses on emotional and physical well being. These leaders are intentional about recognizing student voice, building restorative practices, and ensuring that all students feel they belong. Now, let's talk a little bit about staff culture. Standard 4A calls on principals to develop a shared vision of high expectations for students and staff. In the transformational leadership model, the leader is the chief culture officer. They don't just assume a good culture will appear, they actually design it. They model the core values they want to see, they lead weekly staff meetings to reinforce those values, and they celebrate wins publicly. Staff feel valued and challenged. They know what excellence looks like, and they're committed to upholding that standard in every classroom. Standard 4C, which is the call to engage families and communities, is also embedded in the framework. Transformational leaders know that students don't exist in a vacuum. They build structures for two-way communication, share progress transparently, and invite families into the academic journey, whether it is hosting family nights, sending out regular progress updates, or involving community mentors. These leaders understand that family engagement is a catalyst for student success. Lastly, Standard 4E speaks to using a variety of discipline techniques to meet both behavioral and academic needs. In transformational schools, discipline isn't about punishment, it's about growth. Leaders promote consistent, equitable discipline practices that support the whole child. They invest in training staff on culturally responsive approaches and restorative strategies that are aligned with the school's academic and emotional goals. So, to wrap it up, the Transformational Leadership Framework is not just a theoretical model, it is a strategic playbook that directly supports the Texas Principal Standards. When leaders embrace the levels of instructional leadership, observation, data driven instruction, and culture building, they are not only improving teaching, they are shaping lives.